go insane.
All right. So from your end, the sound is good.
It sounds good. I'm sure the people on Facebook will tell us if it's not, or if that like I have made the mistake previously where no one can hear what you're saying. I'll say it live that it was a mistake. It wasn't me genuinely trying to silence you or anything like that.
Yeah.
There's
Whatevs.
nothing untoward, I swear.
Oh, yep.
All right, we're live. I I can't yeah, we've got live, and it seems like
It's working.
yeah, technology works.
Beautiful.
No Y2 23K, oh, whatever.
Hey, Karen, what's going on, mate?
So we've already got people watching.
If anyone is in the feed, we'll answer all questions at the end. And I'm sorry, we did forget to do last week's. But
Yeah, look, I think that was more of a New Year's hangover kind of thing than just sort of a Christmas crazy, we'll call it.
I actually did feel a bit hungover last week. I felt like pudding hungover. That's the way.
Yeah.
I wasn't drunk hungover. I just felt like I was still in holiday mode.
Yeah. It was very much like it was like, oh, it's the Christmas crazy period. Like, you don't know what day of the week it is. You don't know what's up, down, like,
Totally.
and then it was like, oh my God, it's bin day. Oh wait, no, it's not. That was yesterday. Oh, and you just don't know.
Miss bin day, yeah.
Every day is Sunday, but no day is Sunday,
There's
and
no
you
way
don't.
my missus would let me miss bin day, mate. That's not happening in her house.
We were walking the dogs, and I saw someone's bin out, and then I went home, checked the calendar, and said the bins are out tomorrow. Get it done. But we're past that now. Christmas crazy period is done.
Yeah.
We're back to semi-normal. We'll say semi-normal. January's a bit of a ramp up, but anyway, we've got a show to do.
Yeah, let's kick it off, man.
All right, we're up to 61, is it?
Yeah.
Nice.
Are you happy to go through the run sheet?
I've had a quick look through it. I'm good with it. I haven't did some reading on the I did some reading
On the star card?
I did. I've got some thoughts on that, which is cool.
Yeah, great. Okay.
I also have some controversial thoughts on Donovan Mitchell, but
Great.
it'll be fun.
Even better.
Yeah, I like it all. I think we've got a good episode here.
Great. All right. Well,
Thanks, Ben.
let's go.
All right, 61. Let's do it.
Yeah.
Welcome everybody to episode 61 of the You Can't Comp This NBA Trading Card Podcast. We are your hosts, Adam Amy, joined as always by Russell Gibson. Russell, how are you on this beautiful, warm, running out of words, Sunday night?
I got bad news for you. You need to do the intro again.
What did I do wrong?
Nothing. I didn't start the recording.
Oh,
All right.
I can do that.
Sorry.
Here, I put you on mute so you just don't record for a while. I see how it is.
That's revenge.
It's a revenge stitch up. All right. Are we ready?
Yeah, let's go.
Is it recording?
It's recording.
Fantastic. Welcome everybody to episode 61 of the You Can't Comp This NBA Trading Card Podcast. We are your hosts, Adam Amy, joined as always by Russell Gibson. Russell, has the heat got to you, or has it been a good Sunday?
It's been a beautiful Sunday, but I have to admit, I did go to the beach today, and I do feel a little bit cooked, but I'm okay. I'm gonna be okay.
I took the dogs to the beach. It was an interesting time. There were no incidents. We were happy. Yeah, we're good.
Kids just love the beach. A little bit of sand, bucket, make some sand castles.
Beautiful.
Delicious. Yep.
Beautiful. All right. Stuff happening in the NBA?
So much stuff is happening in the NBA, but I want to step back in time a little bit. And the reason I say that is because at the end of last week's show, and look, I think some of the things we do good on this show is we are a little bit impromptu, and some of the bad things about this show is it's a little bit impromptu. So probably last week's was a bit of an example of that, where I just was looking at cards, sort of 5 minutes before we kicked off, and I saw that Jordan Star card, and you asked me a question about it, and I didn't know the correct answer. So I think the way to turn, a negative into a positive is that we had a bit more time to read through it, and I want to lead the show with it.
Yeah,
I think it's actually a very interesting story, And at the end of the show, I'll put all the links up that I've been reading through during the week, so that if other people would like to read about it too, because I think actually it's maybe a little bit more interesting than we probably gave it credit for last week. And the reason I say that is because there's so much sort of backstory, to the card.
Yeah.
And I would probably also say too, the way that I feel about it now is very different to how I felt before I sat down and did all the reading. So I think, that's interesting in itself, I think, a little bit too.
For sure.
Yeah.
Well, I've and as much as this might surprise some people, I've done some reading. I actually read the link you sent.
Oof.
I actually read it, and I went through, and now I have thoughts on it.
Well,
I don't know if they're good, and they're going to be, as you just put, impromptu.
That's okay. You kick off, mate, and then I'll bounce from you.
There are 3 Jordans in this set.
Yeah.
That's the first observation I made. There's obviously Hakeem, who's Hakeem, and Charles Barkley.
Sure.
As rookies, notable rookies in the set. But the thing I did notice is there's a Rookie of the Year Jordan. There's an Olympic team Jordan.
Yep.
And there's the rookie. Now, if this was printed today, all 3 of those cards would have a rookie badge on it. Would they not?
They do put. You are right. Prism are putting the rookie logo onto insert cards these days.
I'm surprised they haven't put it on the packaging, to be honest.
So you can grade the pack.
That's it. It's a rookie pack. Anyway. But yeah, there's 3 Jordans. And the only thing that's really come to light, and as I said, this is impromptu. I haven't actually done any further research. Let's not get too carried away. Yep. But there are 3 Jordans. I haven't looked into what these Jordans go for, but yeah, 3 out of that same set.
Yeah, cool.
Thought it was interesting.
So I think for me, the starting point was to correct the mistake that we made last week. So what we said last week on air was that they weren't an official set, when in fact they were. And Star at the time was the only company making NBA cards. And the reason for that was because basically Topps stopped picking them up.
Yeah.
There was literally no interest in the cards. No one wanted to do it, so Star Cards did it.
Yeah.
So, and I think that's maybe where my headspace was a little bit funny, because that Fleer card is so popular. I never really had that Star card in my mindset. Whereas, actually, the more you read, I think there is a very strong underground following for this card.
Yeah, there's definitely a legitimate claim that it's the rookie.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and people do. I think there are a group of people out there that really highly covet this card, and there's also some people out there that don't highly covet it. And so I think part of the reason why people don't chase it maybe as much as the Fleer card in some instances is because when they were first released, they were essentially sold in sealed bags. So they weren't in traditional packets like we open them today and sort of randomized sort of thing. So, and the other way I almost, when I was reading about that, is that I was almost thinking of sort of like a cello pack, but it's actually not a cello pack. It was literally a clear bag. It was in a sealed clear bag. So,
wow.
Yep. Then just moving through, I found I put together a little bit of timeline, and I'll reference these a little bit later on too. So then in the late 80s, there was known to be a Type 2 counterfeit, and where that came from is actually there were cards that should have been destroyed. They were not printed properly. And then they're not exactly sure who took them and who put them out into the market, but essentially it was stolen by a former print production employee.
So hang on. So they were printed with the intent originally to go into the packs, but they were printed incorrectly, and so they were supposed to be destroyed?
There was one set that was originally released that was released in sealed packs.
Okay.
Then there was another one which was in the late 80s, and it is now referred as the Type 2 counterfeit.
Wow.
Yep. And then moving through the timeline, in 1991, PSA stops grading the Star Jordans after they learnt about the Type 2. So that had been going on for some time before it sort of came to light by people, exactly what was happening. Then in 1997, the owner of the the Star company actually took the printing plates and then printed more cards. And then
oh wow,
the way they described it was a shop at home setup. But another way to think about that is, when it's like 1 o'clock in the morning and you're sitting flicking through TV and it's like those infomercials and then people are selling stuff like that. That's the type of situation that it was. So, but what he did was he also backdated them to the 84 year so that it looked like you were buying the original Jordan rookie cards.
Wow.
Actually, and again, this wasn't raised to people's attention, for quite a long time. But in the end, actually, there was a lawsuit that was brought about by the NBA. And in addition to that, the FBI actually investigated into it, and he was arrested and charged. So I think that's a really... how interesting is this? Do you know what I mean?
That's a hell of a rabbit hole. I discovered there were 3 different Jordans. That was about it.
Well,
but
so
this is, in
2008, BGS begins to grade the cards. And the reason they begin to grade the cards is because they're collaborating or they employ a consultant. His name is Steve Taft. So Stevettaft. And if you Google this gentleman, basically he would be what's considered like the guru of these cards, the person who knows the most about them. So
wow.
In 2022, so we're moving forward like quite a long way, PSA grades the cards. And I think you can look at this in a lot of different ways. Why have these cards become more popular? It's also to do with the value of the cards, because if you comp the cards directly, also the value of the card is significantly increased. So the Fleer BGS 9, 8.5 thousand pop, last sold for... Sorry. I'll edit this bit out. I'll do a timestamp. My notes were really bad. 9 minutes. Alrighty. So the Fleer BGS 9 has got a population count of 1,813. It last sold for 8.5k. The 1984 Star, population of 73, sold for $89,000. So I think that's the other reason why you can also say that these cards are becoming a bit more popular. The amount of money that's into them is really quite high. So I suppose the thing for me is, what puts me off this card is that BGS has graded fakes. There's a lot of fakes out there on the market, and in addition to the counterfeit 2 ones and then the reprinted ones, there's people still out there printing cards today. So you can go to eBay now, and the most famous counterfeited card, it hasn't got the red border around it, it's got a white border around it. So essentially, instead of saying border, you could say, well, it's a white card instead of a red card. So for me, that's the part that really puts it off. So the counter argument to that is, and this is what Steve Taft put forward, is that, well, actually the most counterfeited card in history of the NBA is actually the Fleer Jordan rookie card. So
funnily enough, you
can't use that argument, directly to say, well, I don't want the Star card because there's so many counterfeits. Well, actually,
it's pretty hypocritical.
Some of the main points raised on spotting fakes is the different border colors. We talked about that a little bit already. The colors bleeding, and the really interesting thing for me is the gradient on the color bleeding is very variable. So you can't just say, well, this one is bleeding a lot and this one's bleeding a little bit. This one is a fake, this one's not. They actually say the originals don't have any bleeding at all. So if you've got a little bit of bleeding, you could argue that's a fake. The newer fakes have got glossier finishes, and some of them, the pictures are blurry. So when you see the blurry ones, I mean, I'm not great at picking fakes, and I'm also not great at picking grades before I set my cards off for grading, but I could pick those ones out. Do you know what I mean? And for me, the funniest one is actually some of them have got reprints printed on the back of it. So that's, again, like Blind Freddy could work this out. So the lawsuit cost him $1.1 million. So it wasn't a small amount of money that the NBA won off him in court.
Yeah, but it just raises so many red flags when someone's got printing plates. That's just...
Yeah, that's right.
It's
And
not
there's
the first time we've heard of someone going off with the printing plates or selling printing plates.
Yeah. And there's also no real guarantee that he currently won't do it again. Do you know what I mean? What would, stop this gentleman from doing that again?
Technology's better if you've got the original stuff.
Yeah,
makes it
that's exactly right.
Yeah.
So the other thing too, this card has also been trimmed and submitted a lot. And I think that for me is a really interesting one because, and I might be segueing a little bit too hard here, but I do think it's relevant, is because recently there was a Steph Curry that was BGS graded. It was bought, taken out of the slab,
and resubbed to PSA.
They declined it and it was sent back to BGS, and then they also declined it too. So I do wonder that maybe cards that were, say, graded 10 years ago, is it possible they weren't looking out for that sort of trimming and that alteration stuff as much as they do these days? And I'm saying that in a kind way just because there's so many more reps of have happened in that sort of last 10 years. I mean, you think about how many cards being graded in the last 12 months, like, literally more than 1 million. So
it's insane how many more cards these days are graded.
Yeah.
But I guess with, as I said, technology is getting better. Counterfeiters are getting smarter.
Yeah, absolutely.
There are videos on how to submit your cards for grading, and so trimming has got to be something they're looking out for.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like,
no, definitely. I think so, but I suppose what's going through my head is I would just wonder if back in those days it wasn't something that was as considered. Perhaps.
Yeah,
that's all. Yeah,
yeah, that's true. That's true. And well, that's the thing. Like, I understand that sports cards been around for a long time.
Yeah,
but we haven't seen grading levels like we have over the last 3 years.
No,
ever.
Definitely not.
There's no way on earth that someone goes, oh, yeah, just wait until people start declaring the copious amounts of Jordan rookies. The population count is never going to be 20,000 for a base Prism card.
So do you want to segue into grading numbers? Because I've actually got that on the run sheet.
I was gonna say I did.
Yeah,
we could. Let's have a look.
Get onto Twitter, guys. Follow GemRate. I really like them. They provide an enormous amount of statistics. Where they get the stats from, I don't know. I probably should know this, but anyway, GemRate, they're fantastic.
On it, so, can I segue your segue?
Yes, of course.
All right. So on the run sheet, you've also put this down. Card Ladder. They've partnered with GemRate to provide in-depth pop reports for all Card Ladder verified cards.
Yeah.
The reason I bring up Card Ladder, our lovely friends over at Card Ladder, is I don't think we could say anything last week, but we've said something during the week. We are now we're affiliated with Card Ladder, and our show now pops up in the feed.
Absolutely.
People can can see little old us in their podcast feed. Anyway, I've derailed your GemRate.
It's probably a good time to take time out to thank Card Ladder, because I think it is a great honor to be in their curated list, and that's what it is. So Card Ladder, thank you so much. We do appreciate it.
We do appreciate it, and we'll be putting the clamps on for that premium account. Don't you worry.
Alrighty, so let's just do some crazy numbers. So in the last 12 months, PSA graded 11.2 million cards, CGS 1.4 million, SGC 988K, and BGS 748K. So I'm actually a little bit surprised on SGC. I just assumed they were doing a bit more volume than that. I mean,
I'm surprised with BGS.
Well, I am and I'm not, because of the shutdown. I think that would have definitely played into it. And then
I don't know, but you combine CGS, SCG, and BGS,
and then it's still about only 33% of the total.
And they're like PSA is absolutely light years ahead of everybody.
Yeah.
It's their capacity. I guess they've seen they've sort of seen where things were going, and they used it as an opportunity to grow and expand their operations.
So the reason actually I went on to GemRate is because what I wanted to look at to see was BGS actually picking up. So I went back through the last couple of months. So BGS in December did 48K, in November 50K. So I was actually expecting the opposite to that. I thought maybe it'd be, say, 45 in November and say 50 in December, but yeah, clearly not. So that's
insane.
Maybe the nail in the coffin has already happened, and
yeah,
it's just as simple as that. Collectors like PSA, so
yep. Everybody is PSA have also been updating their pricing quite a bit.
Definitely making it more competitive.
Yeah.
So segueing back to the Jordan card.
Okay. So we've done gem rate. We've plugged card ladder. We've done gem rate.
The reason why we were talking about
we're back
grading numbers is because of how many of the trimmed and faked BGS cards have been subbed. So I think So I suppose where I'm sitting with that is I think that even if you're buying a graded card of this, you need to be very much aware of what you're buying. So you can't just trust that it is. And I think the other thing to I would say also keep in mind too is when was the card graded, because I would be more suspicious of it if it was graded 10 years ago than if PSA graded it today or even BGS graded it today. So that's where I'm sitting with that. And then I think the last thing I sort of really came up with about this is essentially the photo in the star card is 10 times worse than the Fleer card. And I think it probably where I would like to finish on this is that I think the Fleer is just a nicer looking card.
The Fleer is a more iconic card. Simple as that. There's no doubt in my mind as far as which is the nicer looking card. But I think it's nice to have options. Do you know what I mean? Like, if you want a Luka, if you want a Zion, if you want Ja Morant, you can get a Prism, a Select. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
A Hoops. There's a variety of options when it comes to investing.
Yeah.
Up until the whole star debacle, it was really there's one Jordan rookie, and now stars sort of put their hat in the ring and go, no, there's at least two, and then there's a rookie of the year, which is like, I'm not going to say the Olympic card's really a rookie card.
The comps on that
are low,
cents on the dollar compared to the star rookie card.
Yeah. I'm looking at the. I'm actually having a look through the rookie of the year card, because I think it's an interesting one as far as a price point. It's actually down 30%, funnily enough. But you could pick up a BGS 8, 1985 rookie of the year Michael Jordan, Pop 67, last sold for $3,800 US. And that's a Jordan. In my eyes, that's a Jordan rookie, a rookie year card. For that amount of, but like, if you don't have 60K to buy the other one, do you know what I mean? Like, there's more than just the one card.
It's really interesting what you spoke about before about being able to afford a card. It's so funny. I feel like the star card is out of my reach, whereas the Fleer
is within.
Like the lower graded cards actually. You know, I could almost like reach out and get one.
Yeah.
And if you had to ask me about this before I looked through all the comp reports and the costs, I would have probably said, it'd be the other way around. I would never have thought that, the star would be like that. Anyway. Alrighty, final thoughts on this one, mate?
Final thoughts on this one. Interesting dig down the rabbit hole.
Yeah.
I think it was that was worth it.
Look, I really enjoyed it. And I think the other thing, just to sort of really quickly tie off on this, I would say form your own opinions. I would say take time out and enjoy reading about it, because there's so much out there about these cards.
Yep.
And I'll put the links up to sort of get you started. And once you've sort of read through those 5 or 6 links that I put up, you'll be able to easily, find other stuff. So just enjoy yourself. Basically.
Yep. I was going to say, anyone that hasn't figured it out yet, we just give our opinion on things, and we're not always correct, i.e. the fact checking.
Often not correct.
Yeah, but you know what? That's what makes it a lot of fun. And obviously formulate your own opinion. But I just think it's nice that there's a few different options out there with regards to the Jordan rookie, and if people want to add that kind of piece to their PC.
Yep.
It's interesting. Interesting's a good word for it.
Absolutely. So the next thing in the run sheet is a little bit obscure, but it's a bit of a make-up from last week. It's for James Gregory, and last week he was asking about Marvin Williams. So
Was he trolling last week when he did this?
No, James genuinely collects Marvin Williams. So I think we just have a quick chat about Marvin Williams. So I think the thing that comes to my mind immediately for this guy is that he was drafted ahead of Chris Paul. So
oh wow,
for me that's like a really tough thing to get over. I actually think that if Marvin Williams was in the league today, he wouldn't have survived as long as he did back then, because Marvin Williams' game was built entirely around the mid-range, whereas that sort of mid-range game these days is just not appreciated in the same way. Look, maybe he would adjust and extend his range out to the three-point line, but I'm a little bit... I think Marvin Williams was lucky that he was in the league at that particular time. So.
Yeah. We've all got one of those players that we collect, haven't we?
Yeah. Look, I don't think there's anything wrong with collecting Marvin Williams. So I think in terms of what would I buy for this guy, I've just found something which I think I'd be pretty happy with picking up. I found a Marvin Williams rookie card, an Upper Deck SP, on-card autograph. It just sold for $1.06. So that was, to be fair, on the low side. I do need to add the shipping was $14. So I suppose what's that around 14? 22 Australian dollars to get that done. But there is some nice
still pocket change. Still pocket change.
I think that qualifies for pocket change, yeah. And Marvin Williams. What's your thoughts about Marvin Williams, mate?
As I said, I wasn't sure. I went in the card ladder, I put the name in, it didn't give me anything. And then I thought, is this guy a singer? Is it a real basketball? Are we in the right sport? No. I sorry. I have a friend that I do troll with regards to Anthony Bennett, so
actually, I want to add. Sorry, I'm going to cut you off here. I've just found a 2005-6 Upper Deck dual auto with Chris Paul and Marvin Williams.
There you go. That's it.
That's actually quite delicious. That sold for $76 USD though, so that's a nice card. Yeah,
that's very nice.
All right, so moving on to the next one down the list is Donovan Mitchell, and I think we have to give this guy some props. And I think, to be fair, we actually talked about him in the off season, and probably for the opposite reason for what we're going to be talking about now. So,
and now I'm not sure if I've called him out on this, because I'm going to comp him to someone that is not looked on favorably in the hobby. I feel like we are looking at the second coming of James Harden.
What do you mean by that?
He's just going to put up numbers. He's going to be just numbers, but with no substance.
Okay, I would disagree with that a lot. And the reason I do is because I actually think he's a pretty good all-round player. So,
I don't. All round might be a bit.
He's actually a reasonable defender, and I think that him going from Utah to Cleveland actually helps his defensive game a bit, because
the defensive schemes are definitely different in Cleveland. You're right.
Different, but he's got good defenders around him, which he had a good defensive team in Utah. I don't think.
Yeah, I was going to say he had the defensive player of the year with him in Utah.
But offensively, he's got a lot more with him in Cleveland, and I think that this is probably a bad analogy, but just say you've got 10 points of energy to spend in a game, and if you're spending 7 of those points on offense, and you've only got 3 left on D, whereas I really think, like with Garland, I mean,
with the extra help on offense, it improves his defense because he's not as No, I feel that
probably doing as well as I was expecting him to do this year, but Mobley is pretty handy, and they've got some other guys there that can do some stuff too. So
all right, so hang on. We'll go back to. I'll reestablish, because it sounds pretty harsh.
No, that's fine. Like,
I'm comparing him to Houston, James Harden.
Okay, so
so he was but he was in Houston. James Harden was great, if you remember.
Yeah,
he got them to the promised land. Like he got them so far through the fight like they could almost touch it, right? But it was all about his points. He was just, and then all of a sudden, the other element of his game, he started passing, but he used to just be a scorer. And I just feel, I don't know what he's going to be like hobby-wise, but I feel that given his current trajectory, I don't think he's He's not that Luka level superstar.
Definitely not.
And I feel like Harden was a wrong place, wrong time kind of guy, as far as hobby wise. Him, like, as I said, Houston Harden was great. But he obviously wasn't very collectible. So, I don't know. Maybe I'm just being harsh because he came from Utah and wasn't collectible there.
No, I mean, look, my thought about this guy was in the offseason that you had an opportunity to prospect on somebody that had a pretty high ceiling. And that's how I felt about that. And, I mean, at the moment, that's actually turned out to be a reasonable prediction. He's currently up 78% on the last 3 months.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that 78%, though, really is tied into the fact that he did drop down so much in the offseason. So, look, yes, he is up 78%, but I'm looking at the base PSA 10. That's at $77.
Mm-hmm.
I still don't think that's outrageous. So does that card still have a little bit more room to move? I probably think it does, because that 70 points is going to get, yes, a lot of attention for him, but I don't really see a lot of reasons that Cleveland don't make at least a round 2 appearance. And if they make a round 3 appearance this year, I won't be surprised, because actually I think that team is built really well. I think they've got a lot of balance, and they've got enough depth that they could sustain one injury and still be competitive.
Yep.
And also, too, Rubio will be back, at some point, which will give them, even a little bit more depth and a steady hand. And I think you need that type of, play in the playoffs. So
yeah, without a doubt. Like, and I don't mean to sound super harsh on the guy.
No, that's fine. Look, even if you are, I think that's totally fine.
But it's like everyone's like, oh, he's putting up all these points. I'm like, well, what else is he doing? I haven't watched enough of Cleveland, to be honest. And I think he's thriving there.
You should watch Cleveland. I think they played the right way. They're a good team to watch. And maybe maybe I'm watching more Cleveland because I'm watching less Golden State at the moment. That could be true.
Possible.
Yeah. Look, I think Mitchell is a very good buy at the moment, even still. And the reason I say that is because I think he's got 2 things that could happen for him. I think you could make a short-term flip on this guy.
Yeah, for sure.
There is that Fruja factor happening at the moment of terms of, the excitement and the exposure. And I would also say long-term, he's still got a little bit of legs too. So
I don't discount that at all. I think you're right. And he's.
I think Cleveland is a good young team that could grow together. So it's not out of the question that they'll have team success over the next couple of years. The other thing I think to mention also too with this guy is just go back not that long ago when Jordan Poole sold for $1,000. So Mitchell is $450.
This is true,
right?
This is true. It's on the way. It's on the way up.
Yeah, but like, you cannot convince me that Jordan Poole has got more talent than Donovan Mitchell. Like, Jordan Poole's a good player, and I'm not ragging on him. I'm just saying, like, there was no logic in what happened with that, So, yeah, that's where I sort of sit on that. Any more thoughts on Mitchell?
That 71 points is very impressive, and I will watch a little bit more before I
It's a lot of points,
tear shreds off it. It's a lot of points.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's good to see him thriving. I'm definitely happy that he's found a good home in Cleveland. But yeah, it's one of those. I'm a wait and see with Mitchell to see if it's sort of a repeat of the same story. We'll see what happens in the playoffs.
So, okay. So what more do you need to see to be like, I would like to buy some Donovan Mitchell?
I'd like to see him not choke in the playoffs. That's not unreasonable. Put the team on his back and actually win a few games. He's got to have that champion mentality.
Yeah.
And I'll straight up comp it. Luka. The only reason the Mavs get where they go is because Luka puts the whole damn team and the assistant coaches and the coach all on his back with the supporters and just drags them as far as he'll go.
But
Mitchell isn't that player, though.
No, I don't think he is. And I don't actually think there's any comparison between Donovan Mitchell and Luka and the Cavs and Dallas.
No, but I'm saying in order for him to impress me enough, hobby-wise, he needs to show me he is a champion, not just a scorer.
Yeah. Okay,
if he's a flash-in-the-pan scorer, my comp to James Harden is completely correct. He's a big stats on a irrelevant team guy. Get to a championship game and put up serious numbers. Get into the MVP discussion. Show me you are a champion. Not because this is the potential being realized, sure, but where's his ceiling?
Yeah. Okay, that's fine. So before you buy somebody, they need to be at a
No. This is just Donovan Mitchell. This is
very high level. Whereas I suppose what I was saying a couple of months back was like,
I think he was a definite buy off season.
Was undervalued,
and now I think he's fairly valued.
Yeah.
So I think he's back up at a reasonable level. I think the Jordan Poole thing, and we both laugh at it constantly.
Yeah.
That getting to $1,000 was ridiculous. We're not in that world anymore though, because the hobby things have stabled off. Like people aren't going as crazy. I think once a card gets up to like 500, that's the Jordan Poole comp. Do you know what I mean? Like it's a buyer's market because things aren't spiking as crazy as they were.
Yeah.
I think someone that does, like, I feel like Donovan Mitchell has bounced back. That's literally where I'm at with him.
Yeah.
Like he's back to where you should be.
Yeah.
And if there's a little bit more if he puts up another 60 or 70 point game, he spikes a little bit, people can flip money. Easy.
Yeah. I'm not sure that he has to put up another 70 points for his value to keep going up. I suspect what will happen is if Cleveland keeps playing well and he stays uninjured and he just continues this average amount of play that he's had.
Yeah.
Even if you remove that 70-point game.
Yeah.
I think actually his value is going to keep trickling up. So for me,
is it linked to team success though?
I think so.
Yeah.
And
okay.
Yes, absolutely it is. Yeah, and I think the Cavs have got a really good chance to.
Well, what are they? Look, I'm just going to check it quickly. They're fourth in the East.
Yeah.
So they're actually in really good stead. They're 3 games off top spot.
Yeah.
It's quite an impressive season so far.
Yeah.
And I think that's where they should be. I think Cleveland are quite a good unit.
Yeah.
But as we get past the All-Star and things like that, then chips start to fall and you see the lay of the land and where they actually belong. And I think that's also where you'll see what Donovan Mitchell is worth based on, obviously, team performance.
Yeah, that's fair.
But yeah, I'm going to stop ragging on Mitchell. I actually don't have anything against him.
Now, I want to talk about redemption. So this can be, to be honest, an ongoing, like, rolling conversation, almost like our segment on pocket change.
Wicked.
But so I think this is my observation at the moment is I think Panini's making a big push to try and close off some of these redemptions that have been sitting there for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
And for whatever reason, they can't always do it with the cards.
Yeah.
So now either they're giving people points or they're giving people replacement cards. So I've just been bookmarking things as I've been going along. I also put something up onto the page on the 24th of December. I'm just going to pin it to the featured post on the page. So if you just want to pin up your own personal story so that we can almost sort of form like a running sort of sheet of it, that will be awesome. So I'll start off with my own, actually. I had an Admiral Schofield Optic autograph card. So it was a rookie card.
Mm-hmm.
It was a rookie season ticket, and it got replaced with a Spectra RPA of Scale Labissiere. So I think actually the card value is reasonable. The only reason I'm not an A plus on this is because Scale's already out of the league. So in terms of that card having any sort of real ceiling, there's nothing there on that. Whereas Schofield actually is beginning to carve out some playing time for the Magic, and I wouldn't put it past him that he can just sort of keep carving out something, a rotation player. So that's my only, I suppose, complaint about that. Ryan Jewell, low end redemption for the last one. Jaden McDaniels on card auto took 60 days. So he actually got his card. So I suppose in that instance you would give Panini an A for that. Is that what you? Is that fair? Yeah.
Yeah, that's fair. Like, you actually get your card. That's.
The next one is Joe Fu. 5 shacks loaded in 3s ago and still waiting. Asked for a replacement on 1 just to see what I can get, and it's 1 year on. Okay, so he's got nothing.
Yeah.
I suppose you have to leave that as maybe a C because, it's not that story hasn't finished yet. Andrew Dean. G'day, Andrew. I hope you're well, mate. After sending my first ever redemption card from Panini in 2011, and waiting for 5 years, I ended up with a minuscule amount of Panini points. Yeah. This is the other thing that's happening to people too. They're getting points that you can't do a lot with. And so for that, I would give this a D. I think that's the problem with this, is the small amount of points is quite problematic. Now, if I pull a redemption, I will trade for something of value and let the redemption be someone else's headache/heartbreak.
Yeah.
Look, I think, Andrew, that is a very fair play. And the other thing you can do too is just put it up for sale on eBay and sell the card unscratched on eBay. So, alrighty. I'm not going to name names on this one because I just pulled these off NBA Card Market. So it's probably unfair to say who this was, but I mean, this is a decent redemption, and then a shrug emoji. All right, I'm going to need to timestamp this. I'm not 39 minutes. Sorry, mate. Alrighty, so he had a Eduardo Mendy, which is a Chelsea Football Club card, and it was replaced with a Ja Morant premium stock rookie ink shimmer. So I think that's an A+.
It's an A+, but it's an A+, but come on, it's a soccer player being replaced with an NBA player.
Yeah.
If I got a Messi auto or something as a replacement for, I don't know, a Kobe that I was waiting on, right? I'd be sort of happy, but still pissed.
Yeah.
I'm like, hang on, I wanted an NBA superstar, and this person wants someone from Chelsea. Like, I don't know. I don't know if that's good.
Yeah, and look, I think that's
at what point do they just send a Charizard to somebody and go, here's a Pokemon card?
Yeah.
I mean, we know that they don't own Pokemon, so they can't do that, but that's weird. Weird. I don't know. Like, it's obviously a decent valued card.
So he has had correspondence with them. He didn't outline what the correspondence was. So there could have been some dialogue to say,
do you collect basketball?
Yeah, what would you like? Because I do know that in some instances they will try and give you somewhat of what your preference would be. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Sure. Alrighty, so this next one is, so the card that was originally tried to be redeemed was a LaMelo Ball fresh paint, numbered to 8. It was replaced with a Steph Curry National Treasures validating Marks Gold. So I'll let you give the grade on this one first, mate, to see what you think.
Okay, so this is a LaMelo Ball rookie, right?
Yep. Court Kings, though.
Yeah, it's an A+. Come on. It's a Steph. The guy's a Hall of Famer.
Yeah, that's right. And
like it's Stephen Curry. It's not like a potential Hall of Famer. It's not. Do you know what I mean? Like it's not a Luka. It's
so
not. This is a two-time MVP. Like yeah, okay. We know
really
yeah.
interesting thing about this one, mate, is that when they provide you with redemption value, it's based on at the time of when the card was released. So if you remember that back like a couple of years ago,
Melo spiked.
He was running hot.
Sure.
And if you comped it at today's value, I would probably say you wouldn't get that Steph Curry. And
you would not get a superstar player.
Yeah. So, and that can also work the other way,
Correct.
Someone can be worth more now, but they'll replace it with less because at the time of the release, that's what it was valued at. That's the game that they play. So, clearly in this instance, this has worked in the Redeemer's favor. So, I think you have to definitely have to give that. I agree with you. That's an A+. Yeah.
That's fantastic. Like, yeah. Yep, nothing short of fantastic on that replacement.
So the next one is he tried to redeem a National Treasures Clutch Factors Ja Morant, 13 out of 25.
Mm.
And it was replaced with a Luka Recon card and a no-name NFL auto.
Oh, that's the one I'm not part of that group, so I can't see it. That doesn't sound like a great replacement. So what year's the jar?
2021.
Okay, so it's not a rookie year.
No.
Okay, and they replaced it with a random Luka and an NFL auto.
A Recon Luka. Unnumbered.
Unnumbered Recon rookie?
No, it doesn't say.
Just a random Luka insert. Why? My question is, why the hell is there a second card involved?
I think they're trying to just give him a bit more value.
Give him a basketball card then. That's weird. That baffles me. Like, give him just a second string, rookie auto or something. It seems like bizarre compensation, is my thought.
I personally think that if I had a National Treasures card and then I got a Recon back for it,
I'd be a bit pissy.
Yeah, I don't think I'd be happy with that.
Even if I sent you an NFL auto to go with it?
Hang on a second. I think we need to do this segment again. This card again.
Okay.
Sorry. He had a Recon Luka and a no-name NFL auto, and he got back a Ja Morant. The wording of this is really difficult.
I can't see it. This is this is the group that I'm not in. So.
All right, let's just start this one again.
All right,
cool. I'll just timestamp that one too. Sorry, mate.
That's all right. Just cue it with lastly, yeah.
So the last one that we've found is a Luka Recon Redemption, which was unnumbered, and a no-name NFL auto, and that was replaced with a Ja Morant to 25 National Treasures Clutch Factor. And that actually makes more sense.
What on earth?
Because Ja actually does sign, and he's very amicable about signing too, so that actually makes a bit more sense.
Yeah, that's not bad.
I think you'd have to also grade this as a...
That's an A+ then.
Yeah, because I think I would prefer an NT over a Recon.
You're not going to get your trashy NFL card, or your crappy Luka. How about an awesome Ja Morant? Yeah, I think that'll work.
So,
unless you're PC Luka, in which case you can have a dummy spit, or the second-rate NFL player.
I reckon you'd be able to trade that Ja Morant NT for something Luka-ish. I would say that.
You think? Maybe.
I think so.
Yeah, I reckon there might be a couple of jar collectors out there that...
Yeah. Or sell it and, buy a Luka. I think that could also be in play. But So I don't want this to be all pro Panini and we're only putting forward the good ones, but I also don't want it to be all against Panini and all they're doing is giving people, 200 points.
You know, I was
You
gonna
know what I
say,
mean?
I was gonna say, give us some examples, people, of what you have had converted into like 200 points. That's a good idea as well.
Just tell us what's happening in the hobby. That's what I want to know. Because
Give us your updates on what Panini are doing with redemption cards.
Because I do want to give them the benefit of the doubt, but at the same time, I also do want to know, what's happening out there. And I probably suspect that there's going to be some instances like what we've just shown where, they are A pluses, and there has to be other instances. Like, not everyone can win. I don't think that, that can be the scenario it's going to play.
Look, everyone can. Everyone can win. Because Panini are, like, got a clean house. But I don't think it will. I think there'll be some cases where it goes the other way.
Yeah.
We skipped over one on the run sheet.
Did we? Can we go into the White Sparkle packs next? Is that
you
okay?
You can.
Yeah.
I want to wrap up with this. The one the last one.
Okay, sure.
Yeah.
So this is a little bit of a leading thing because traditionally these White Sparkle packs are only available on the points page.
Yep.
And as far as I know, they've not done Optic before. So
really?
They've done Optic this year, and they were selling for 5,000 points. So if you did get your card changed over to points, this is something that you could spend your points on.
Ooh,
for me,
nice.
the really interesting thing about this is looking at the resale of these cards. So the sealed packets, they've sold for $365, $335. This is US dollars.
Yep.
11 packs sold for 3,200. So that's sort of a little bit less than 300 a pack. I'm a little bit dubious of people spending that much on these sealed packets because essentially you can also get just like a base White Sparkle card, which will probably net you around $30 to $50. So, for me, it's a little bit, tread with caution. And also, too, it's Optic, and I think... I think it, to be fair, the best way to say it is it's really Prism's, ugly sister. So, I don't mind these if you've got a heap of points tied up and then you go out and you get a White Sparkle pack. That play I'm totally fine with. I suppose where I'm a little bit sitting, like I'm not so good about is, going onto eBay, and I'm buying these packets, for what, $365 US, that's around $500 really, isn't it? Like it's not a small piece of change. They've all been completely exhausted off the webpage from Panini's site. So, obviously there's a lot of popularity behind them. I generally feel that if they're just selling these, that's basically just a cash grab. But if they're putting them up for points, actually, I don't mind that at all because then at least people are getting something back from, if you hit them out of retail boxes or, wherever you've got them from, I think that's actually like a good thing. But I do wonder if I really like the Mosaic Kobe packs they made, and then they're giving them to people for the, the Kobe cards that were unredeemed. So I would also like to see them keep some of these packets and then offer them to people almost as swaps for cards. So if you've got a Luke that hasn't been signed, or a jar, or whatever it is that it's been, or the Shaq, the guy that we read those out that have been sitting there for 5 years, and he wants to swap one Shaq for a White Sparkle pack, I think that will be like a really good play. So that's the only thing I'm probably not that keen on, is that all the packs have been exhausted, and
they've got the option to produce more stuff. I don't know. There is a fix for everything.
Yeah. And you wanted to end on something else, Ad?
Yeah. The Luka rebuy.
Oh,
the Luka rebuy scheme. We
did skip through something here, didn't we?
Oh, I've been looking forward to this.
All right, you lead this one, mate. That'll be great.
So the because there've been a lot of press, I guess, on the Luka logo man selling for like a lot less than it should have and all the rest of it.
Yeah.
Anyway, there's a card porn story on the 2nd of January. I'm sure Russ can put a link to the particular Facebook link.
Sure.
So here's the story about a Luka Doncic 2018-19 National Treasures RPA logo man. Firstly, what is it? Is that the owner? Yep. At Shine150 confirms he purchased the card for $425K in December of 2019. So
Shine is a person and is a big baller in the card world.
And I would assume so if he spent $400,000 on a card.
I think the nicest way to say it is he's a big baller. Yeah.
Yeah, a big player in the game.
Yeah.
All right. Shine posts the card for the first time on his Instagram on June 14th, 2020.
Yeah.
On March 1st, 2021, Shine announces that he's done a deal with at 72 Woot Woot 72, where a number of cards were sold, but where the Luka RPA was sold for $4.6 million on its own.
I remember the photos from that story too, and that guy with his grin on his face.
Yep, this made it the highest privately sold basketball card of all time. At that time. Shortly after, on March 14th, 2021, 72 Woot Woot 72 announced that BGS graded the card as a BGS 9.
Yeah, which is a good grade for that type of card. It's not a 10, but those are super tough cards to grade a 10.
Yep. So, I mean, it's a 1 of 1, so it's pop 1. Anyway, in November of 2022, the Woot Woot consigns the card to PWCC, and PWCC writes up their infamous auction description about
Couldn't you just say Woot Woot consigns the card instead of the Woot Woot? Yeah, it's like almost speaking about yourself in the third person when they write it like that.
Yeah, it's a bit the Woot Woot. Well, 72 Woot Woot 72. Woot Woot Chugga Chugga writes a description about trains.
That was funny.
The card sells to an anonymous buyer for $3,120,000.
Yeah.
This made it the highest publicly sold basketball card of all time.
Yeah.
Yesterday, Shine announces that he was the one who bought the card from PWCC. Number 8. For those playing at home, Shine buys said card for $425K in December of 2019, sells it for $4.6 million in March 2021, and buys it back for $3.12 million in November 2022. 9. That is just savage.
So you know those stupid maths games that come up in your Facebook feed? I feel like this is a real life.
And it closes it. It's like, how much money did Shine make from this purchase and sale purchases overall?
Yeah.
Wow. So he's got his Luka and an extra $1 million at least. And someone graded it for him.
I don't have a lot to say about this other than
he's a Luka. He pulled a Luka. He made $1 million on it. Got the Luka back. Graded.
I just feel like some people are playing chess and some people are playing checkers, and clearly Shine is playing chess here. And
that is phenomenal.
Look, I actually have not much to say about this, honestly. What is there to say? Congratulations to Shine. I'm happy for you. I wish I was as smart as you. That's all I can say.
That was fantastic. That's just...
It is interesting about, though, sort of purchasing in that massive sort of peak, that we had.
The time. It's all about the time,
essentially, you're just sort of buying it on one side of the mountain and then selling it and then buying it in on the other side. And that's... I'm sure there's a fair few people that would have done that out there with other cards, but clearly this is,
Yeah, I think that this is a little bit of a unique circumstance. One of the highest selling values of a card of all time. That's phenomenal.
Yeah.
That's weird. It's probably not the end of things, because I forgot we've got pocket change as well.
Yeah, let's do a bit of pocket change, mate.
I've got no pocket change. I have no pocket change to spend this week. How about yourself? Have you got any pocket change? And how about beautiful? I'm gonna go.
I got some really nice ones. So last week I spoke a little bit about Davion Mitchell, so I did pick up another Davion Mitchell. I got a Prism Choice rookie card for 21 USD. So I'm probably sitting on the edge a little bit here whether this is going to be pocket change or not, but it's pocket change-ish. But the one that I'm definitely going to say is pocket change, and I also want to use this opportunity as a highlight to talk about this set, is a 21-22 National Treasures of the Hall order. So they've done this set for a few years now. I think you could argue that there's been better iterations of this card than this particular one, but at the same time, I still think it's a really nice card. I picked up an Adrian Dantley numbered to 99 of this for 15 USD. So
yeah,
again, this fits into my all-timers PC chase that I've been frankly having an absolute blast doing. It's been really good to learn about some of the old school guys, pick up some of these, cheap autos that are just floating around of them, which I personally think they're underappreciated and underloved. And for me, this is just another example of, just an absolutely beautiful card. And sorry, let me rephrase that. That was the price that I quoted was actually the delivered price. The actual sold price was $10.50. So
nice.
Yeah. So it's an on-card autograph too. And I'm just really, really happy with this pickup. And I do agree that you could argue this is a bit more than pocket change, but at the same time, I'm just very, very happy with it. So
no, that's great. It's I'm just going through the Facebook group to see if there's any additional pocket change that we may have missed.
Yeah.
I can't see any. And I've dug through the group with my little shovel from the beach. Well,
alrighty. I think we should finish off the show talking about the Hobby Hangout. The Hobby Hangout is coming up. And
it is
coming up on the 5th of March in Melbourne.
It'll be here in no time. It will be here in no time.
Yep. I would definitely like to shout out to the lads at the Hobby Hangout because we are now working with them until March. So thank you so much again to the guys at the Hobby Hangout and Andrew.
Yep.
The two dates to shout out is the Sunday the 5th of February at the Tivoli in Brisbane and the
brilliant.
5th of March in the Melbourne Pavilion. If you are looking for tickets, go to www.thehobbyhangout.com.au and hit Andrew up, because what I can say from experience is that the Hobby Hangouts have been very well organized.
Yep.
They're absolutely improving each year. And then the volume of cards that are at your fingertips on the day is probably more than you'll get time to look at, which I think is a good thing.
All right. I'm going to impromptu you right now.
Hit me.
All right. Because we are going to be at the Hobby Hangout.
We will be at the Hobby Hangout.
All right. Here, we're going to incentivize everybody to come along to the Hobby Hangout. Russell and I will have some random giveaways for those that come up. And we don't know what the condition of getting said prize will be, but there will be a challenge for listeners.
Okay.
And we'll have some goodies on hand.
Yeah, cool.
The first ones to come and redeem them will get the giveaways. And because there's some goodies that have been provided to us by our other sponsor, EJ Cards. I just thought absolutely. I'd, segue the whole lot.
Yep.
So at the Hobby Hangout, we'll be running some giveaways.
Great.
Speaking of which, we need to get in touch with Jules from EJ's and get him on the show because he is speaking at the Hobby Hangout.
Yeah.
Tied that up in a bow. But
It's
we need to
quite
reach
nice.
out to Jules, yes.
Thank you, everyone, for listening. Thank you, Adam, for coming on board tonight, mate.
Pleasure as always. It's great.
And we'll see you on the socials during the week. And if not, we'll see you next Sunday night. Thanks, everyone, for listening and have a great week. Alrighty.
I was going to hit end stream then.
Do you want to go through some Facebook questions?
I'm just running through the Facebook stuff now. Dun, 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 dun. Oh, Alex went to the beach with the kids too.
Oh, so good.
It was a very much a beach day, wasn't it? I'm guessing Mornington was very, 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 very nice today. Got to great 31. Thanks, Karan, for the beautiful feedback. Yeah, we'll get Jules on at some point. Alex also said the Jordan rookie sticker, which is another option. Another option. Very, very true. Very, very true. I think my dogs are crying for me, so I'll try and make this quick.
I think that's it. Yeah, there's no more questions tonight. So.
Yeah, there was a thing about the grading, and I tend to agree. Maybe we do talk about this at a future episode, where Alex has pointed grading over 1 million cards per month will definitely have a higher number of errors. I think it could be interesting, the quality.
Yeah, but that number though is it the total number you're looking at or the percentage of errors? Because
that's true.
You know, if you have 1 million cards graded and you have 1% of errors, is that an acceptable error rate as opposed to grading 500,000 cards and then having, say, a 5% error rate? Like, do you know what I mean? That's sort of
fair point.
I think it's not just the number of errors. I think it's also
definitely.
All right. I think that's everything.
Yep. Next week we're going to be shouting out the TikTok because I am going to get busy.
Great.
I'm going to have a QR code and everything. It's going to be lit. It's going to be. I'm going to be the social media
guru.
Mogul.
Guru.
I'll clip all the good stuff from all the shows. Make them all.
Alrighty, mate. I'm going to log off and